Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into a story about a spiritual group that's been operating under a cloud of controversy for decades. And now one of its most well-known followers is being considered for a top U.S. intelligence job, which is suddenly dragging this hidden world of allegations right into the political spotlight.
Let's just get straight to it. This isn't just about some guru in a faraway land. Nope. This is about a high-stakes political appointment that could plant decades of controversy right in the heart of U.S. intelligence. So that's our way in, this political connection. And to really get what the big deal is, we need to pull back the curtain on the organization that has shaped this political figure's life. Okay, so the person we're talking about is Tulsi Gabbard, a pretty well-known political figure. Now, her potential role in a Trump administration is shining this massive spotlight on her spiritual master, a guy named Chris Butler, and the group he founded, the Science of Identity Foundation. All right, so who is this guru at the center of it all? You know, the man behind the curtain? Let's trace the story of Chris Butler and his organization, the Science of Identity Foundation. On the surface, the Science of Identity Foundation seems to blend yoga with Gaudiya Vaishnava theology. That's a devotional branch of Hinduism. Sounds pretty serene, right? But, and this is a big but, stories from people who've left paint a completely different picture, one that's hiding just beneath that calm exterior. So Butler's journey really kicks off in the 1960s counterculture scene. He first gets involved with the Hare Krishnas. You've probably heard of them, ISKON. But then, in '77, after his own guru dies, he splinters off and starts his own thing, even using TV to get his message out and build a following. And this, right here, is where things get really interesting. We start to see this huge gap, this massive contradiction between the public face they put on and the internal reality that ex-members describe. So to draw people in, the group uses these really inviting, relaxed slogans. Live on the loose. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? It promises this life of ease, meditation, spiritual freedom. It sounds amazing. But behind closed doors, well, former members allege Butler's language was anything but relaxed. We're talking profane, aggressive stuff, especially when talking about other spiritual groups, even the one he came from. It's a pretty jarring U-turn from that whole live on the loose vibe. And this is really the heart of the allegations right here. On one side, you've got this public image of relaxed yoga and meditation. But on the other, you've got this alleged high-control environment with strict rules that reportedly forbid reading other religious texts and push followers to isolate themselves from family and friends outside the group. Ex-members talk about this whole toolkit of psychological manipulation. They allege there was constant criticism to just chip away at your self-worth, gaslighting, where leaders would literally deny things that members saw with their own two eyes, and even this tactic of provoking people into an emotional reaction just so they could turn around and shame them for it. And it wasn't just about psychological control. Former members say there was a heavy price to pay for this devotion, both with your mind and your wallet. Okay, get this. According to people who were inside the group in Poland, devotees were expected to fork over as much as half their income, 50%, straight to the group. And that devotion, yeah, it allegedly came with a steep price tag. It wasn't just donations. We're talking about supposed expectations of free labor, having to pay for your own room and board in the group's ashrams, and even getting charged just to use the kitchen or a washing machine. Look, these aren't just bullet points on a slide. To really get the human impact of all this, we need to hear from the people who actually lived it. This statement, it's just haunting. It was found in the backpack of a young Polish member named Kasia, not long after she was expelled from the group and later found deceased. In it, she declares with her ID number that her involvement was voluntary. It's just a chilling document to be left behind. Then there's Jasper Leonard, a former member from New Zealand. He describes having an autistic meltdown and telling them exactly what he needed, just some space and time to calm down. But he says that was ignored. Instead, he was told he should be on medication, and paramedics were called against his will. He calls the experience deeply hurtful and abusive. And apparently just leaving the group doesn't mean the ordeal is over. Sources allege there's this specific tactic used against people who speak out. They're insulted, provoked, pushed until they react negatively. And then that reaction is used as proof to discredit them, to label them as aggressive or unstable. It's a vicious cycle. Okay, so let's take a breath. With all these really serious allegations of control and manipulation on the table, let's circle back to where this all began for us today, the corridors of political power. Inside the group, the guru's influence is said to be absolute. Followers are allegedly taught that questioning him is spiritual suicide, and some have even said that to them, Butler is considered more important than God. And this is why this story is making headlines now. The kind of profound control that ex-members allege Chris Butler has over his followers could now potentially extend to a key political figure being considered for one of the most sensitive jobs in the entire U.S. government. So, all of this leaves us with a really critical question, one for you to think about. When any group with a history of serious controversy gets a foothold in the world of political power, who's responsible for making sure there's accountability? It's a question that really blurs the line between someone's personal beliefs and the public's trust.